Coming up next week in Coronation Street, Theo loses his temper with Todd, Brody and Dylan are discovered together, and Carla and Lisa may finally succeed in sealing their engagement on the third attempt. Number 1. Will Lisa and Carla become engaged? At number 6, following her failed effort to ask Lisa to marry her in the Rovers 3 weeks earlier, Carla is now determined to go all out as she gets ready to try again. She opens up to Betsy, admitting she hopes to propose to Lisa, but only if Betsy gives her approval first. Betsy is thrilled with the idea and assures her it's a brilliant plan. With the garden specially decorated for the big moment, Carla brings Lisa outside, but it doesn't take long before something, or perhaps someone, throws everything into disarray once more. Later that week, after Betsy reveals that Carla had been gearing up to propose, Lisa shares her own secret intentions with her. So what exactly does Lisa have in mind, and could the third attempt finally seal a Swarla engagement? No. 2. Lisa comes face-to-face with Tia Wardley. At the same time, the unresolved mystery of Lisa's late partner Becky still looms large, as Kit tells Lisa that Logan Radcliffe's uncle has been taken into custody. When Lisa remembers how Logan fed Carla lies about a woman named Tia Wardley, Kit is caught off guard. Digging deeper, he uncovers that Logan had been put into isolation following a clash that happened soon after Carla's recent visit. As Kit continues to probe the connections between Logan Radcliffe and Tia Wardley through the police system, could this be the key to a major discovery? Later in the week, D.I. Costello casually chats with Lisa about her evening arrangements, but Kit finds himself growing wary of his superior's sudden curiosity. Elsewhere, Roy is pleasantly taken aback when he runs into Evelyn at the hospital while getting treatment for his back, and she quickly insists on tagging along to Carla and Lisa's planned dinner at the bistro. As the evening unfolds, Carla and Lisa are startled when a woman arrives, introducing herself as Tia Wardley, claiming to be the very person they've been trying to track down. Is Lisa about to uncover the truth she's been waiting for? Will Carl's affairs be exposed? In another storyline, Dee Dee confides in James that she set up a date with Ollie and asks if he can mind baby Layla for the evening. James agrees to help, even though it forces him to cancel his own romantic plans, hiding his frustration behind a smile. Fans were stunned by the latest twist, as it was revealed that James had secretly spent the afternoon in bed with none other than Carl Webster, who is already tangled in an affair with his brother Kevin's wife, Abby. At the same time, while blackmailing Carl and Abby over their fling, Tracy has been scheming to seduce Carl herself. After Carl rejected her when she turned up at his hotel room and tried her luck, Tracy had no idea that James was already inside with him. Carl thrives on taking risks, actor Jonathan Howard explained after the bombshell. He's a thrill seeker and a free spirit, drawn to people rather than labels. If he wants something, he grabs it without thinking too much about the fallout. He's annoyed that Abby has gone away with Kevin, so he's looking for a distraction. He and James share a spark, and Carl decides to follow it, Jonathan added. Tracy offered herself too, but he's no fool. He knows that would be trouble. James, on the other hand, is easier, lighter, and more exciting. Later, when Tracy corners Carl demanding her cash, she can't resist throwing jabs about Kevin as well. Debbie overhears part of their tense exchange and is left furious. Has Tracy just let slip too much about Carl and Abby's hidden romance? Number 4, Theo turns against Todd. Theo and Todd's romance takes a darker path next week when Theo loses his temper and physically lashes out at Todd. In the previous episode, Theo's growing jealousy over Todd's closeness with Billy led him to issue a harsh ultimatum. After Billy phoned the police on Theo's teenage son, Miles, who shoved Billy during an anti-gay protest on Victoria Street alongside Noah, Theo hit breaking point and demanded Todd cut ties with his ex. In the upcoming episodes, Todd reluctantly promises Theo that he'll keep away from Billy. There's definitely a sadness in that moment because Todd is being pressured into a compromise he neither wants to make nor feels is fair, Gareth Pierce explains. He's been endlessly making allowances for Theo's increasingly domineering behavior, largely because of Theo's past struggles. But we're now reaching the stage where Todd is quietly questioning if he's giving up far too much. Todd wishes Theo luck as he heads to mediation with his ex-wife Danielle about custody of Miles and Millie. Danielle had banned Theo from seeing them after Miles attacked Todd, which escalated when Theo stepped in and accidentally struck his own son. During the mediation, Theo is quickly thrown when Danielle arrives with Noah at her side. Noah wastes no time provoking Theo, and what was meant to be a calm discussion rapidly descends into a fiery confrontation. Later, Theo returns home to find the house empty. Discovering that Todd is at the Rovers with Billy, his fury explodes and he turns to the brandy bottle. When Todd eventually gets home, tensions erupt as Theo lashes out, furious that Todd ignored his demands. The following morning, Todd remains shaken by Theo's violent reaction. The more diplomatic version of Todd we see these days is usually careful with his words, but here it's crystal clear that a huge boundary has been crossed, Gareth reveals. He has to make it absolutely clear that such behavior isn't acceptable under any circumstances, least of all in their relationship. Todd later opens up to Sarah, trying to excuse Theo's volatility by blaming his troubled past, though Sarah can see the toll it's taking on him. Meanwhile, Theo sits at home stewing, and his anger spikes when he spots a picture online of Todd and Sarah enjoying a drink at the pub. When Billy bumps into him on Victoria Street to check how he's doing, Theo snaps once again and threatens him. Later that week, Theo tells Billy that he's taking steps to get help and has arranged to see a therapist, leaving Billy hopeful he's finally turning a corner. Billy even urges Todd not to be too harsh, but Todd is caught off guard by the mention of therapy. It's soon revealed Theo never went through with it, as he later confides in Gary that he couldn't bring himself to attend the session. He convinces himself it wasn't really abuse, just a single moment where he lost control while drunk, Gareth adds. But the truth will dawn on him sooner or later that it is an abusive relationship, long before he finds the courage to walk away. Number 5. Brody and Dylan's first car theft goes awry. When he isn't busy with his flings across the street, Carl is keeping himself occupied by running a stolen car operation, now pulling Brody and Dylan into the scheme as well. Carl orders Brody and Dylan to scout high-end vehicles worth targeting, and later in the week, Brody reveals that he and Dylan are gearing up for a job that promises Carl a hefty payday. Although Dylan looks uneasy about the plan, he still goes along with it. But when the two try to break into a car, James catches them in the act. But the big question is, will James go to the police about Brody and Dylan, or decide to keep their secret? Number 6. Jenny pines after George. Jenny's struggle to win George's heart carries on next week, just as his growing friendship with her rival Christina starts to flourish. Jenny had been convinced that Christina was trying to con George when she returned to the cobbles last week, insisting that her partner in crime, Dom, had died. But when Jenny barged into the Undertaker's, ready to unmask the scam, she was left stunned as she lifted the coffin lid and discovered Dom's body inside for real. In the coming episodes, Jenny once more offers George an apology, gazing after him with longing as he walks away, unaware of the depth of her feelings. Later, George admits to Christina that he's received a message from his ex, Eileen, and Christina proposes they head out for a drink together. When Jenny makes an effort to approach George in the pub, her spirits sink as she realizes his attention is fixed entirely on Christina. Number 7. George is falling for Christina. As the week goes on, even Glenda begins to have her doubts about Christina. She cautions George not to be fooled by appearances, insisting Christina isn't to be trusted. During their chat, Glenda offhandedly remarks that Jenny harbors feelings for him as well, leaving George more entertained than convinced. After Dom's funeral is over, George meets Christina for another drink and admits that his attraction towards her is getting stronger. Christina admits she feels the same way, But when her bank card is unexpectedly declined at the bar, she breaks down in tears as the weight of recent events begins to overwhelm her. But are Christina's emotions sincere, or is she simply playing a longer game with George? Number 8. Debbie joins a dementia choir. Also, next week, when Glenda gives Debbie a flyer for a local dementia choir, Debbie isn't immediately convinced. Ever passionate about the arts, Glenda urges her to give it a chance. The session turns out to be more enjoyable than Debbie anticipated. Energized by the experience, she addresses the group with excitement, declaring that they have real promise and that she's the perfect person to help them reach their potential. But will everyone see things the same way? Catch Coronation Street on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 or stream it on ITVX and YouTube.